Good morning, village, and welcome back to another episode of Jedi Learning with Baba Kenwould. Now, it's been a long time, and I shouldn't have left you without some strong words to step to, but we back, because I've been getting a lot of questions lately, but the question seems to be the same. The repeated question is, Baba Kenwoud, when are we going back to school? Is school going to be open in the fall? What is that going to look like? So I'm here to answer some of those questions for the people who may be wondering, when can I go back to work? Because the only babysitter I had was my child's third grade teacher, or fourth grade teacher, or high school teachers, okay? Well, the quick and short answer is, in my best grammar that I can muster, you ain't going back to school in September or in the fall, or probably for the foreseeable future, and probably ever. This is why. Not only is the amount of money that people are going to have to spend, specifically districts, on trying to make adjustments to the school in order for people to have staggered schedules, to roll around in pods, to make sure everybody is tested, everybody's temperature is taken, everybody has masks, to hire people to take temperatures, to hire people to clean regularly. All of these things are going to cost tons and tons of money, and you talking about this just started in spring, and school districts who are already strapped for cash are supposed to come up with all this money to make these adjustments so you can go back to school in the fall. This is why I'm saying that is not likely to happen. School districts already don't have enough money. They don't have enough money to educate you in the first place, let alone make all these adjustments, which are probably transient and temporary, to the school system. Now, they're saying that the costs are going to cost anywhere between $1.8 to $2 million per district. But if you know anything about how school districts work, you might have a school district that consists of only 2 schools, and you might have a district that consists of 20 to 30 schools. So that number is going to vary greatly. And they probably did take an average of all the schools, but some schools are going to require maybe a couple 100,000, and some are going to require millions. Maybe even some of these districts might require a little bit more. But here's the key. That stimulus package money, those federal funds that are going to continue to trickle down, all these emergency money plans, they're going to keep schools afloat for the time being. But at some point, somebody's going to have to go into debt or have to start to borrow money to keep that going. So people are going to have to make some big decisions. That is only one of the reasons why there will be no school coming back in fall. The other reason, and this is the one that we've been telling people for the last, 5 to 6 years, is that school as we know it is obsolete. What does that mean? Students sitting in rows, being at school for 8 hours a day with somebody that they don't necessarily know or enjoy being around, and getting curriculum that does not provide them with the nourishment that they need, the intellectual stimulation, the support for their being that they need, is not a good education. So you can learn a lot less in a lot less time with the right teaching tactics. As a matter of fact, you don't necessarily need a teacher, because you are the best teacher of yourself, because you're going to go after the things that you want to know. You do need a guide, or you do need somebody to help support you in your learning, because obviously you don't know everything. But having somebody be the master and giving you everything that you know is definitely not necessary. We've known that for quite some time. And this whole factory of producing people, what's going on, Sister Ann? This whole factory of producing people for menial jobs goes all the way back to the Industrial Revolution. So now that that's over, we have a new revolution, technology, information revolution that's going on. And as a result, the job and the training in the school systems have to change. This is why you will only have to go to school maybe 2 or 3 times a week. As a matter of fact, you're only going to have 40% in-person learning, which means that when you had to go to school for 5 days a week, you only have to go to school for 2 days a week now. So you're going to get 60% less in-person learning. And that, for some people, that's going to be okay. But this is the real kicker. With the destruction of the public school system, Betsy DeVos and her crew just recently, within the last 4 days, had a really big groundbreaking decision, which stated that federal money, taxpayer money, cannot be diverted away from religious schools or school choice, meaning that schools are going to have to fight for students. Private schools are now going to be endowed with public school money and federal taxpayer money. Not only private schools, but parochial schools, Catholic schools, religious schools, any type of school choice is going to get those federal tax dollars. And this is what they were brought here to do in the first place. The reason they put Betsy DeVos in that position was so she can make the transition from the public education that we've had to the public education that we're going to have, which is basically, I give you the money, you take it to where you want to go, also known as school vouchers. So that was a lot of information in a short amount of time, but let's do a quick recap. When are we going back to school, Barbican 2? The answer is no time in the near future, because it just costs too much. It costs too much for the masks. It costs too much for the plexiglass. It costs too much to rope off areas so that children cannot access and play on playgrounds. It costs too much to hire extra aides to take temperatures. It costs too much to buy all these temperature gauges, to buy gloves, to buy Lysol wipes. You see what I'm getting at? This is a lot of money. Like we said, 1.8 million to 2 million for each school district. They don't have any money as it is. Where are they going to get this money from? And part two, the public education school system has been gutted. Now that private schools, parochial schools, religious schools, and the school freedoms are now in play, you are not obligated to send your child to a school within your living quarters. So you should not be confined by background and zip code, is what the politicians say, which I would tend to agree with. You should get the best education that goes to your heart, to your cultural values, that supports you as a human being and as a person. And then you won't have to worry about being dehumanized in books like Huck Finn, and in other books, 10 Little Niggas, and in other books, Dr. Dolittle, which you probably didn't even know was racist in the first place. Not necessarily The Lion King, but what is the one I'm thinking of with the mongoose? Rikki Tikki Tavi. The list goes on and on. So now you don't have to worry about that. Get your taxpayer money, take it to the school that you trust, that's going to give the education to the children that you want, and you will not have to worry about when we're going back to school in the fall, because you will be getting learning whenever you need it. That brings a conclusion to Breakfast with Baba for today. So we hope the village out there got some uplifting news in the fact that you do have a choice now, and you do not have to send your children to schools that are turning into military prisons in the first place anyway. But the bad news is babysitters are not going to be there for the foreseeable future. Once again, this has been Barbican 2, Jedi Learning. Always come back and tap into us whenever you need some information on what's going on with Black philosophy, education, and psychology. We hope everybody has a good day. Stay safe out there, and we will be seeing you soon. Peace.